Hello, everyone. Nice to see all of you. Welcome to your lecture for this week. This is basically a lecture on analyzing annual report. Well, if you remember, okay, one of the group assignment is you have to do an analysis of the annual report. So therefore, this lecture is specifically very much focused on that in order to assist you for the analysis of the annual report, because to let you guys know what exactly are you supposed to be looking out for, because I'm sure you guys are a little bit confused of exactly what are you supposed to look for when you are analyzing an annual report, right? I'm sure that's in your mind as you guys get into groups and work together for this, all right? So now a little bit of housekeeping. So what is going to happen is that, like I said in last week's lecture, we will have to proceed more with the analysis of the annual report, because want to get all the group works done so that you can focus on your final piece, which is an individual work. Now, therefore, without wasting time, let us proceed with this one. And I'm going to see you live on Thursday via Zoom once again, to be able to just check out your progress of your group work. Okay. So this week, basically, from this week onwards, every tutorial is really much going to be focused on coaching you to finish your assignment of group works as well as your individual work, right? More lectures will be upcoming, and all of these lectures will be tied into your assignment at the end of the day, all right? So please pay very careful attention to all of the lectures that's upcoming, all right? So without wasting our time, so let us proceed to this week's topic, analyzing annual report. Now, before you talk about analyzing annual report, of course, you have to ask the question of what is annual report. I know it probably sounds like the most obvious thing in the world for you to say, seriously, are we going to talk about what is annual report, right? Now, but I want you guys to know that we got to understand exactly what is annual report in order for us to be able to analyze it carefully, okay? Now, so annual report, that book that you always see from a company to another company, where it looks so fanciful and you have so many things inside which you don't understand, right? So when you look at that, I'm sure you go like, oh, this is so boring. I'm not going to read for it. And I'm not sure how much experience you have in reading annual report. But do know that annual report is probably one of the most important document for investors, okay? Because this is how investors know what is happening within the company. Just imagine if we spend, say, 50,000 into a company, just a simple 50,000 into a company. I'm sure you will wonder at the end of the day, right? Because if, let's say you are not part of the management of the company, you will want to know what exactly they are doing with your money, right? So therefore, how do you get to know about it? Is usually through the annual report. Now, what is inside the annual report? Usually what's inside the annual report is an information on the health of your company. Okay, so basically, you explain the things which are important that are happening to your company, and who are the people that you are informing to. Shareholders, people who have part in your company. Stakeholders. Okay, so what's the difference between shareholder and stakeholder, right? So stakeholder basically are people. If you look at it, right, shareholder, right? Let's just say, yep, so shareholder and stakeholders, okay? Now, what is the difference between this shareholder and stakeholder at the end of the day? Stakeholders are basically people who are affected by your company's operation, but they may not be necessarily the people who have share in your company, okay? So there can be people who are your suppliers, your industry partners, your employees are also part of your stakeholders, stockbrokers, and even financial analysts that we always discuss before this. Okay. Now, also, of course, beside the shareholder and stakeholder, annual report is a report to the media, to your future potential employee. I think this is one thing that a lot of companies tend to overlook. Now, let me ask you, if you were to go for an interview with a company, right? You're sitting at the lobby, imagine yourself sitting at the lobby, and when you sit at the lobby while you're waiting for your interview, so where do you go for information? I'm sure you look left, you look right, and the next thing you know, oh, there's the annual report there. You're going to pick it up, you're going to read it, so that you know what exactly does the company do. It gives a good idea of what's going on within the company, right? So even potential employees is part of the target group when you do an annual report, right? And of course, lastly, you also aim for common community people, because you see the community will wants to know what are all the big companies doing. I'm sure you are interested to know what's up with Facebook currently, what's up with Google currently. You are interested to know all of this, right? So you are part of that community. And therefore, next time when you are part of a company, do bear all these people in mind when you are doing your annual report. Okay, when you are designing your annual report, are each and every single person of these people able to understand your annual report, right? Now, but having said that, what is the immediate purpose of an annual report? Very simple. Now, the first immediate purpose is, of course, the most straightforward one, to provide financial information. Of course, within the annual report, you will see them reporting about how much they make for the year, how much they have spent, how much they have used, or if they are not making money, how much they are losing. So all of these will be shared within the annual report. Of course, the achievement of the companies will be highlighted. The promotion of the company. Okay, that means you can use your annual report to showcase your company in the best light possible, right? And of course, to give any relevant information. And at the end of the day, annual report is a form of marketing tool, because it's a report where you are able to brand yourself, to tell the world how different you are compared to your competitors, for example. So you are able to use this as part and parcel of marketing tool as well. So that, at the end of the day, is the immediate purpose of the annual report. Now, so what is the objective? Now, again, objective and purpose is two different things. Okay, so immediate purpose is referring to something, of course, which is very short term. Now, but at the end of the day, year after year, 2015 annual report, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and even 2020. What exactly is the objective of your report? Now, the first thing first, of course, the objective of your report is to demonstrate the accomplishment, right? It's so important for you to be able to show people in the long run what exactly does your company do and what they are capable of, right? Besides that, what's the next one? The next purpose of the annual report is obviously to recognize important people in your company. Who are some of the important people that's within your company? What exactly do they do, right? I mean, if they appear in your annual report year after year after year, obviously these are the important people within your company. And of course, to create historical progress tracking. See, when you see the annual report of a company from 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 18, 19, 20, every annual report tells you a different story. Every annual report show you how has the company grown over the years. It's basically a historical progress tracking. Even companies, newcomers are always told to, you read the company's annual report, then you understand what we are doing. So next time when you go out for internship, for example, you might be told to actually read up on the annual report, because that's where you get an idea of how far the company has come and what have they done so far. All right. And yeah, obviously, sorry that I think I kind of lost the marking, but yeah, basically what happened is that, as I mentioned earlier, when you talk about the objective of an annual report, it basically demonstrates the, sorry, so basically, it demonstrates the accomplishment, okay, and then it recognizes the important people which are within your company, and of course, it creates a historical progress tracking. All right, and yeah, at the end of the day, what it also does is that it provides an account for your organization work. So that means, at the end of the day, what happens is that whatever that your company is doing, right? It kind of gives everyone an overview of what exactly does your company does. Okay, how are they doing, how well are they doing, and everyone will also wants to know an account, basically, okay, so how well do you work, what has been what are the progress, what have you been up to, what are the different projects you're working on. And so those are the things that you are providing people an account when you are doing your annual report. And of course, it's also at the end of the day to highlight the management best practices, to showcase how good your management is in all the things that they are doing. Okay. Now, so at the end of the day, what is the desired outcome? Okay. What is the desired outcome of an annual report? Do remember this, okay? Annual report has a shelf life of only 1 year. Okay, 1 year shelf life. That's why whenever you are doing a reading on a company, all right, the most recent annual report will always be the most important one, because you know what is the current status like right now. Okay, and of course, yeah, it is actually a very important tool for you to, at the end of the day, it's about engagement. You want your investors to feel that they are a part of this company. Not only investors, but your employees, your industry people, that they want, when they read your report, when they read your annual report, they feel like they are a part of your company. Okay, so that's the kind of feelings that you want to bring to them. Okay, now, yeah, so that's the objectives, and of course, there are some other purposes in the long term, where I would say is secondary, but you do hope that these are some of the outcomes that you manage to achieve within your annual report, which is number one, you want to share your mission. You want to share what your company's mission is all about. You want to share your vision, your values that guides every single thing that you do. So when you are looking at an annual report, you will realize that they will always be talking about their mission, their vision, and also what values do they have. Now, you might ask yourself, right, when you're reading an annual report, do you feel that whatever that the company is doing is consistent with their mission, vision, and value? Are their projects reflective of their value? Are their mission, are they heading towards the right direction in terms of their mission? All right. And now, on the other hand, if you are part of the investor relation officer who are producing the annual report, you might want to educate your audience through your annual report. Educate them, to explain to them what is your mission, what is your vision, and what's your value. Because at the end of the day, when you do all of this, okay, they feel very much connected and invested in you. Okay, and that is when you know that in long term you have achieved a good reputation for your company. Of course, at the end of the day, it's about building trust on your business practices. And of course, because when as you are disclosing all your financial information and transparency in the way how you deal with every single project of yours, to show that you are reliable and you are trusted, you actually gives them a sense of trust and security in your company. So you build trust in your business practices. Of course, the third thing is you introduce your leadership and other team members. The better you do in introducing your CEO, your chief financial officer. It gives people a face. When I invest 50,000 into the company, of course I would want to know who is the boss. I would want to know who is the boss, and is the boss even doing well? How does he look? Is he handsome? Is he not? At least I need to see a face to it, right? Or is it a young man who's 20 years old? Or is he an old man who's 60 years old? You want to know who are the people that is leading that particular company. And that's one of the things that you should showcase in your annual report as well. Okay. And of course, an annual report is also very useful to showcase company culture. It's an opportunity for you to show how cool your working place is, to show what are some of the things that your company is working on culturally that is very cool. For example, how you present it, what are some of the stories that you put out, and what are some of the contents within your annual report. Okay, and of course, the thing is, annual report is always a way for you to boast about your success. Like I said, to highlight your achievement means to boast. And it's a part of celebrating whatever your success is. Okay, and you always show to your investor that, hey, look, you give us this money, and this is what we have done with your money. We did a great job. Okay, you convince not only them but also the public to support you, congratulate you, and then encourage your own team, right? So annual report is very encouraging because after a whole year of hard work of building the company, when you look back at the annual report, it's like a diary to show you, wow, look at how much the company has done in the past 1 year, and you are part of the team. And of course, an annual report is also a way for you to lay the groundwork for your future, because in a lot of companies' annual report, they always try to project the future. That means what is going to happen in the future. So when they try to lay the groundwork for the future, they kind of predict what's going to happen in the future. Again, it builds trust in them that, oh, okay, so they know what they are doing, and this company has a plan. All right. So the annual report is a way for you to lay the groundwork for your future as well. Now, I'm not going to go into detail, but if you look at this list that I have, okay, what are some of the things that an annual report will showcase? Okay, what are some of the things that they will put inside? Okay, number one is of course the company mission and vision, like I said earlier. Some of the key achievement, what was some of the great things your company has done. Number three is financial performance. Again, how much money you make, how much you have spent, is the money that you spend coming back to you. So how much have you spent, right? The speech of the CEO as well, of course. Okay, the board of directors, you're gonna showcase the people, the board of director, the top management. That's why in the annual report you always see them posing for the photo. So it's very typical, right? And I'm telling you, those photos takes forever because the board of director will always want to look this way and that way, and know how they stand and all of that. That takes forever. And of course, the speech of the CEO, like I said earlier, speech of the teams if necessary, and of course, just showing some of the important faces, right? Especially if there's a change in the top management, that's usually what they do to showcase that particular new person who has come in and make a difference within the company. And of course, the dividend policy. Dividend policy is one of the policies that all shareholders will look forward to. What is a dividend policy? Dividend policy is basically telling the shareholder, okay, so this year we have earned 100 million, for example, and we can share that profit with you by 3% each person. So dividend policies basically spell out to the shareholders how much they are getting for the year. Of course, this is again, like I said, the thing that all investors will most look forward for. Now, in the case of, say, for example, what's going on in the society now with COVID-19 in the picture, right? Obviously, a lot of companies is not able to give high dividend to their shareholders because they are not making as much as they used to be. So dividend policies will spell out and say, okay, so this year due to COVID-19, we are not paying as much dividend to the shareholder, for example. So again, this is some of the things that will be inside the annual report. And of course, corporate social responsibility. What are some of the good things that your company has done for the society in general? Okay, and how is some of the efforts that you have done in order to sustain your business? That's what you call sustainability report. But I know usually sustainability report is always tied to environment. Are you doing all you can in order to preserve the environment? So if you are working for a development company, say for example, if it's a property company, has they done their best? If you are making a building and you are taking off some stuff, so have you done your best in order to replace all the trees that has been cut down, for example? Okay, so those are things that you spell out within your sustainability reports. And of course, market happening. Market happening basically refers to what is happening within the market at this point. Okay, and yeah, basically, how is the market doing? What are your competitors progress as well? Is your competitors doing well compared to you? Okay, there is market happening. All right. And of course, another one is the risk management. There will always be risk in any business, right? And of course, within your annual report, you have to spell out what are some of the ways that you have done in order to overcome the risk. So, yeah, those are some of the basic things within an annual report. And within the details, you will find that in an annual report will always have reports of board of director to members. Okay, so again, like I said, the first part and the most crucial part of an annual report is always the financial and the operational performance. How well are you doing financially, right? What are some of the new policies that you have implemented? What are some of the new programs that you have implemented, and also some of the strategies of the company, right? And of course, secondly, you do have the management report within the annual report, where it's basically the management view of the overall economy of the country. I'm sure in year 2020, every single annual report is going to address this particular issue of COVID 19, right? So yeah, every management is going to look at basically, how is the overall economy situation right now? What is the operational performance that is happening right now as well? And what do they think is going to be the future performance of the company, right? So all these things are part of what they call the board of director as well as the management that will report to people, okay, who are interested in their annual report and what's going on within their company. Now, you might ask the difference of what's the difference between board of director and management? You see, board of director are not people who have necessarily been involved in every single thing within the report, okay, of the everyday working. So, board of director is always the overseers, okay. They see the company at a larger scale. So they may not come to the company every single day. They may not deal with the company every single day, but they are there basically in order to oversee the company. Whereas for management, management are the people who are involved in the everyday working of the company. That is the reason why management is the one who will talk about the overall economy of country, operational performance, and future performance because they are the one who runs the company every single day. Now, you might remember in one of my previous lecture, I also spoke about auditor's report. Auditor's report is very important in order to prove that the financial statements given are valid and reliable. If you remember, I talked about external auditors, right? Internal and external auditor. These auditors' report usually come from the external auditor. Uh, to basically someone outside is assessing your company to basically tell everyone you didn't lie, and that all of the information that you have given is accurate. Okay. Now, of course, financial statements is part of the annual report as well, like I discussed with you guys earlier. How much you make, how much you lost, how much cash you're having, how much you've spent, and of course, fund report. Any setup of funds under the company must be accounted for, especially issuance of premium shares and so on. So, what do I mean by this? What is premium share? Now, the word premium means special. You see, sometimes when a company is facing a certain special situation, for example, they need a lot of cash right now, they may choose to give out premium shares. That means, okay, shares which are expensive, but if you buy it, when I earn money, you get extra in return as well. Now, all of these things will have to be reported to everybody within the annual report. The public needs to know about that. And of course, if let's say you set up a fund for charity, say for example, Bill Gates Foundation, right? They have to do a report. Within the annual report, they must say, okay, so what charity have you done this year? Did you really use the money for charity? Where did it go? Which group of kids did it go to? Which country did it go to? What exactly did you invest the money on? You can't just take money for charity purposes and you think that you can just get away with it, right? So those are the details that's inside an annual reports. Now, I went at length to discuss all of this. Now, of course, you might wonder if, let's say, I don't want to do an annual report, what is the alternatives? Okay, the alternatives of an annual report is number one, what you call the RAP report. You see, a lot of companies that probably is not um, doing so well financially, and they would like to say, no, maybe this year we don't want to come up with a like a full annual report, but we have to come up with a report to tell our shareholder. So we will come up with a RAP report, which is a simple version of all financial statement. Nothing much about the chairman and so on. It's very simple, clear cut on the financial status, okay? And it's usually only online, no paper distribution. Now, and of course, usually what companies do is that they will have compilation of RAP report that will then be turned into an annual report. So that's one way that it can be done. And of course, secondly, is also the quarterly report. Now, quarterly report means a report that is released every quarter of the year. Again, every quarterly, they have to release information. That's why an investor relation officer is always so busy all year round, because every quarter you need to produce a report. January to March, one report. April to June, one report. July to September, one report. And then, from October to December, another report. So 4 report. And of course, this quarterly report will be combined once again to become an annual report. Okay. And why do you have to do a quarterly report? You see, because sometimes whatever that's happening in January, imagine if you only come up with annual report, that means your investor will only find out by December. So obviously they don't have that patience. They need informations incoming all of the time. I mean, I would want to know an update after 3 months, right? So therefore, RAP report and also quarterly report is part of the way how they do that. Okay, and they ensure that information such as investment message and content that has continuity with the annual report. That means it's actually consistent with the annual report, is being released so that it's faster. And of course, another alternatives of annual report is a video annual report. Simpler, but it always involves clips of the production of the company or the process of the company. Okay, that means what exactly are you producing? Probably some shots of the factory, how it's going on, and how they process certain things, and what are some of the basically the details of the things that you have done. Okay, so of course videos can tell a lot more things within a short time, but again, a video can't be long. So usually there's a lot of investors who like video annual report because it's simpler to understand compared to numbers on annual report, which is so boring, right? And of course, it reduces environmental costs, but it takes a lot of time. Now, at the end of the day, so what makes a good annual report? Okay, so number one, of course, when you are analyzing an annual report, the first thing first, if you have to see, do they have a clearly defined business strategy? If let's say you are a part of the team who does annual report, you have to remember that you always need to define the vision of your business. How far is your company going, and what exactly are you aiming for? Okay, it should always be set out from the start of the report, and it is reflected throughout the report. That's why it's very important for you to look at annual report covers, because the covers tells a lot of story of what the company is trying to achieve. Number two, of course, the power of visualization, where within your annual report, in order for it not to be so boring, you basically give case study to illustrate what's going on. That means, you basically narrate a story in order for you to be able to give, to showcase people, to showcase your project, not just dry facts, but a story to illustrate what you're saying. That's why a lot of companies, when let's say when they're talking about CSR, they always like to project a specific kid and talk about how the kid is impacted by their CSR project. Stories, visualization, and of course, the reports of the brand. If you look at an annual report, for you to look at it, first of all, your brand is more than a logo and a set of colors and form. Although I must say, the layout is very important, logo is very important, the colors and the fonts is very important. Is it reflective of your brand? But besides that, it's also your content, the way you sound, and the way you describe and position your business. Now, besides that, another thing that you have to also look for is, of course, the highlight of difference. A good annual report will always show the difference from this year to last year. If not, you might as well use last year's annual report if everything remains the same, right? Now, of course, you have to highlight the difference, show them what is up and what is new this year. For example, having an events, new kind of product, new kinds of location. That makes a good annual report where you give people something fresh, something new. Okay, consistency of tone from the operating statement to the financial statement. Are you consistent in the way you explain your thing? I mean, some people from operating statement, they say, oh, our target this year or our focus this year is going to be on environment. The next thing you know, when you talk about your CSR project or your financial, you see that a lot of your money of the company is being spent into um, some other things other than environment. There's nothing about the environment within it. So your tone is not consistent throughout your annual report. So you have to make sure of that. Now, when you are analyzing an annual report, do watch out for the consistency of tone. From the beginning to the end, is the company consistent in their tone, the way how they project themselves? Okay, and of course, highlight of impacts. Has the annual report been able to show the CSR, the strategy, or the sharing of some of the good news that's happening in the company? Okay, that makes a good annual report. And of course, that's about the content, right? Besides that, what makes a good annual report is obviously the design. Has a lot of navigations. That means, are you able to go to the page that you want to easily, especially for digital version? Is it built in with navigation that, oh, if I want to go to page 5, do I have to scroll all the way to from page 1 to 4 before I get to page 5? Or is it very user friendly where I can just skip directly to that page? Is it easy for me to navigate? Even if it is a hard copy, is it easy for me to get from one section to the other section? So how are they designed? How's the color? How do you find the space? Does it look very complex? Does it look very intimidating? Very cluttered, or is it looking very fresh, very easy to understand? You see, visual plays a lot of importance when it comes to reading, especially for people who are not familiar with your company. That's why I say a good annual report is one that is able to convince a normal person and able to make a normal person understand what they're saying. Okay, and of course, did it explain about the current market situation again? And if there is a risk that's happening to a company, for example, like COVID-19, it's impossible for companies not to address the issue of COVID-19 within their annual report, upcoming annual report. So there's a risk. Every business comes with a risk, but was there a clear plan to handle the risk within the annual report? Okay, has there been a key performance index? That means you tell people, if I do this, that means I'm doing well. Do you have that? Do you tell people how to measure your success? Right? That makes a good annual report if you have that. And of course, within the annual report, can people see who are running your business? If you are unable to even showcase your management, I think that's not a good annual report. An annual report must be able to showcase the management. And of course, another thing that makes a good annual report is that it look at the past, how you have come so far, and also how are you moving forward, right? All of this makes a good annual report. Do consider all of that. And the layout in general, like I said, it's a color reflective of the company's branding. What is the theme that you are after when you are doing the annual report? What is the feeling and tone you're after? You see, some companies, in general, you will see their annual report being very playful. For example, DG. DG tends to be more playful in the annual report. But once again, they also be very professional, very reflective of the branding. The color could be very bright, yet very professional looking. Is it very creative or is it very conventional, traditional kind of report? Some companies like it simple, traditional. Some like it very creative with covers that slide in, or just one bulb as the cover photo or something, very creative, or is it very conventional? Is the annual report seeking for stability in their layout, or they are trying to become different? Even deciding on the cover itself takes a long time. I don't mind sharing with you that from my working experience when I was doing the annual report, it takes us many months to even decide on the cover alone. And takes many more months to actually work on the content to makes it look good in the first place. So that's one thing that has to be really taken into consideration when you're looking at annual report. Okay. Yeah, so I do share some links on the slides where you can see some of the best annual report covers, but it was quite some time ago. So there could be more upcoming which are more brilliant. But yeah, this is just an example for you guys to see what are some of the best annual reports covers there are available. Okay. Yeah, the financial reports consist of all the things here. Okay, the business, an overview of the company's main operation, like I said, the product and so on, the risk factor that we have mentioned earlier, and of course, the selected financial data. Like I said, they show how much they gain, how much they lost, how much they invest, and of course, the management discussion. Even earlier, I've mentioned this. Okay, the management will discuss, analyze how's the current trend, how's the current situation, how well are we doing, what are we going to do next, and of course, financial statement and supplementary data if they think there's any other important things that needs to be included. For example, income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flow. Now, you guys might be confused a little bit in terms of all these terms. So let me just clarify that income statement is basically, of course, how much you are gaining. That's the statements where it says how much you are earning. Balance sheet is basically how are your expenses going on. Is your expenses balanced out with your income? Your investment, is it balanced? And of course, the statement of cash flow. How much cash money do you have? Because a company can have a lot of asset, a lot of building, a lot of land, but it doesn't have cash. It's possible. Of course, a healthy company is one with good cash flow because cash flow pays for your workers' salary money every month, electricity bill, water bill, and all the utilities bill that you can think of for a company, right? Obviously, you need some amount of cash flows around. But of course, the better the cash flow is, the more stable your company is. So all of these are included in a financial report. And of course, vision, mission, like I told you guys, mission statement basically is what you are currently and what is the main thing that you are looking at right now. That's mission, what you are doing right now. Vision is looking to the future, what you want to become. Now, mission and vision sounds boring to you, but at the end of the day, is to communicate your purpose to your stakeholders. Okay, of course, strategy. How are you planning to achieve that vision that you're talking about? And of course, once you achieve it, I have my strategy. So, how do you see if I'm successful by the goal and the objective, the smaller ones? Okay, now these are some of the mission example that I would like to give to you. Okay. Now, mission can be a short session explanation. Mission is usually a very short statement of who your company is, what your company believes in, what it's doing to grow the business, okay, and become even more successful in future. Whereas vision is what you envision to be the perfect worst scenario of how the company will be in future. Now, if you look at the slide that I've given, okay, Microsoft, we believe in what people make possible. That's basically their mission. Okay, and our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. One simple statement to be their mission. All right. And of course, their vision is to empower people through great software anytime, any place, and on any device. Okay. Now, check out Starbucks. Starbucks is, of course, to inspire and nurture the human spirit. One person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. And their vision is to make people happy. Okay, and of course, as they explain, how they are achieving their mission is to establish Starbucks as the premier purveyor of the finest coffee. That means they make the finest coffee in the world while maintaining their principles as they grow. It's very reflective of their value. It's very reflective of their mission as well as their mission, So these are the simple words that they use in order to do. Now, in the annual reports that next time you read an annual report, take a look at it, and was the mission and vision conveyed clearly? Are you able to understand? Are you able to see it? Do you feel like, oh, you understand their purpose? If they manage to do that, that means it's a very good mission and vision. Now, I give you guys some link to read on CSR reporting, and why is it important for people to know that you are doing good deeds, especially CSR. Now, please look into this. These links, it does give you an overview on that. Okay. Yeah, sustainability report, like I mentioned earlier. Sustainability report is basically a report published by the company about the economic, environmental, and social impact of its everyday. So basically, whatever that you're doing, how you're impacting people around you, how you're impacting the environment, how you're impacting the economy. Okay. So now I won't go in depth into the sustainability report because I think by now it's already 40 minutes into my lecture. I'm sure you guys are like, all over the place already. But I want you guys to read up on this, okay? And check out, basically, like I said, is to just show people my company is able to sustain. We have good value. We have very good strategy in place, which is helpful to the people and to the environment around us. That's sustainability report, okay? So thank you guys for surviving the 40 minutes. So I look forward to see you guys very, very soon. Okay. So yeah, do take care. Watch out for your times for updates on what to do next. Okay. So thank you.